Okay, we're live. Okay, so hi everyone. So we're going to start with the questions now. So if your mic is a bit loud and there's background noise, I think rather mute it and then only unmute it when you want to ask the questions. I think it's just a bit better, just for everyone else's sake. Okay. Otherwise, I will mute it if it's problematic. So let's go. So let's start. So Amaro's question. Okay. So the sketch. Can everybody see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So the sketch represents the curve ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is a parabola, right? It's a parabola, which we know it's because it's got ax squared plus bx plus c, and we can see it over here. And we call it a frowning parabola because it's going downwards. And because it's a frowning parabola, I already know that a is negative. It's negative something, right? Because whenever a is negative, it's a frowning parabola. Whenever a is positive, it's a happy parabola. Okay, that's very important. So just, what time is the live session? It's now. Okay, it's now. Okay, so prove that the equation of the parabola is minus 2x squared. Okay, so obviously they're saying prove that it's minus 2, so we expect it to be negative. Okay, they give us a point, and that point is the turning point, I assume, right? So that point is the turning point. Okay, and they give us the equation of the straight line, and you can see the straight line intersects the parabola at the x-intercept. That's important, and it intersects at C. Okay, right. There's some background noise on one of the mics, but it's fine. It's a little bit of background noise. Okay, it's fine. Now, what can we do? So we've got a point, so we can always sub in a point, right? So what do you guys notice about the x-intercept of the parabola?
It also intersects with the straight line graph.
And what about this?
Oh, it's the y value of the parabola.
But what does this mean?
It's a 0.
It's 0.
What's 0?
X and y.
It goes through the origin, right? It goes to the origin. So what does that mean for C? What does that mean for C?
Oh, clearly.
0, 6.
What does C represent in this equation?
Where it cuts the y-axis.
Where does it cut the y-axis?
At 0.
At 0. So do you understand why there's no constant here?
Yep.
Because it's 0, C 0. Do you guys see that? Because it's cutting the y-axis at 0. And since C is the point where it cuts the y-axis, and since the y-axis is 0, that's why C is 0. Everybody understand?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. So now all we have to find is A and B. And we already know what A and B is. Okay, we already know that A is negative, so now we have to work out A and B. So we can sub in points. So we can sub in 2 and minus 1, right? So it becomes y is 2. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, that's y is 2, and x is going to be minus 1, so it's going to be a times minus 1 squared, which is what? 1, right? Minus b. Do you guys see that? Because you're just subbing in minus 1, and you know C is 0, so you don't have to worry about C anymore. So you just work with A and B. So if you sub in x to be minus 1, it becomes A minus B equals 2. Okay. What else can we do? Do you agree we know what this point is? What's this point here? Anybody want to give it a guess?
It's the x-intercept.
Tell me. It's the x-intercept. of the parabola, but it's also the x-intercept of the straight line graph. And you know the equation of the straight line graph, right? So what does that mean? What point is this? How could you find the x-intercept of the straight line graph?
You make y equals 0.
Right. So if you make y equals 0, then it's naught equals x plus 2. Therefore, x is?
-2.
Right. So now you know that the point here is -2, 0. You guys see? You guys see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that means we've got another point that we can sub in. We've got another point that we can sub into the parabola. So we can say naught equals a times -2 squared, which is going to be 4, minus 2b. And c is naught. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got two equations and we've got two variables, so we can solve. What I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply the first equation by 2, because that will give me it'll give me 4. And because I've got -2b on both sides, I can subtract the 2. Do you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
So let me just explain to everyone. If there's any sense you guys don't understand, you must just tell me. Otherwise, I'm just going to go and you can tell me to stop and explain something. Okay. So now we've got -2b and -2b. So we can cancel the -2b's, right? So therefore, we can subtract the two equations. So it's going to be 4 minus 0, which is 4, equals -2a. And therefore, a equals -2, which is what they ask for you to prove over there. And then because a is -2, we already said that, we already said from the previous one that 2 equals a minus b from the first equation. Therefore, 2 equals -2 minus b. And therefore, b is equal to -4. If you take b onto the other side and you subtract the 2, so b -4, which is what they've got there. So we've done it. Okay, so we've proven that the equation of the graph is that. So does everybody understand why the c is naught?
Yeah.
Because the y-intercept is naught. So do you see how? So I told Rivka this last time, but maths is a language, right? Maths is just a way of communicating ideas. So when they tell you something mathematically, you can translate that into English. So when they tell you that that c is naught, that means that in English the y-intercept is at naught. Or if they tell you that the equation of the graph is y equals 2x minus 4, and they don't give you a constant, you know the graph cuts the y-axis at naught, because c is naught. So you guys see, just by looking at the equation is giving you answers already. You guys see that, okay? And because, and of course you can see here that a is negative. And that means that because a is negative, it's going to be a frowning parabola. Okay. Now it says determine the coordinates of C, the point of intersection. What do you guys think? How do we work out the point of intersection? Somebody said it? You equate the equations, right? So, and why do you equate the equations? Why do you equate the equations? I know you taught this in school, but why do you equate the equations?
It's where they both equal to each other.
But why? So we agree that we're going to do this. We're going to say -2x squared minus 4x, and we're going to make that equal to x plus 2, because those are the two graphs, right? This is F and this is G. f and f and g, right? So we're going to make the two graphs equal to each other. But why are we making them equal? We're making them equal because at the point that they are equal, the y of the one graph equals the y of the other graph, because it's the same point. And since y equals minus 2x squared minus 4x in the other graph, and y equals 2x plus 2 in the other graph, since the y's are the same, this must be the same. Does everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just tell me if I must say it again. Okay. So now we can just solve this quadratic equation. So it becomes minus 2x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0. Okay. And then if we use our knowledge of trinomials, we see that it's going to be 2. We can divide by the negatives, right? So sometimes it's nice to divide by the negatives. So you get 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 equals 0. So then you can, so you know the one bracket's going to be 2x because it's a prime number. And then the other one just going to be, this is going to be 2 and this is going to be 1, because you're going to need a 4 and a 1, which will give you the 5. And then this will have to be both negative. So therefore x equals what? X is equal to a half, or x equals 2. Everybody okay with that?
Won't the other x equal to minus 2?
Oh, sorry, wait. I think I might have made a mistake.
In the brackets, it will be positive 2.
Plus, it's, but
X equals to
then
negative 2.
x
Yeah,
equals
that's what I
negative 2. Yes, but then I'm just thinking to myself, then that it wouldn't make sense with the equation. Minus 2x squared equals x plus 2 minus 2x squared minus 5x minus 2, 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. Oh, you just swap it. 2, 5, 2. X, so it's going to be x, that's going to be this, sorry. It's going to be that.
It's going to be negative as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's x is going to equal negative half and negative 2. Yeah. Not minus. Because it's going to be positive 4 plus 1, which is 5, and then 2. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
And you guys see here that we've got minus 2 already. So therefore, this one is going to be minus a half. So that's going to be minus a half. So, and we can sub it into the equation. So it's going to be minus a half plus, because we said y equals x plus 2, right? So if it's minus a half and plus 2, it's going to be a minus a half, minus a half, 3 over 2. That's the y value. Okay?
How did you find the 3 over 2?
Because I just subbed it into this equation. Because if you know x is minus a half, then you can add 2 to give you the y value.
Okay.
Okay, everybody okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the next question says, given that AB, so AB, that shouldn't be AB. Given that AB, that should be, A should be here actually. So let's just write it there. A should be here. Let's just be fancy and erase that. Okay. So basically they're saying, given that AB, no, let's not do that. Let's just, given that AB is parallel to the y-axis and B is an element of G. So B is an element of G, which means that it's confined to G. Okay, fine, sure. And A is an element of F. Okay, so all they're saying here is that A is on the line and B is on the parabola. Okay, fine. Determine the maximum length. So what I want you guys to realize, and this is something that we spoke about last time, Rivka, I don't know if you remember this last time, but basically, this is a vertical line, right? They're saying it's a vertical line. That's why they're telling you it's parallel to the y-axis.
Yeah, I remember this.
Parallel to the y-axis, right? So that's very significant, because if I were to make this, let's say, for example, this was like 6 and this is 2. What's the distance AB? 4. It's 4. But how could you just say it's 4? What did you have to know?
That it's
If this was
parallel
like,
to the y.
you have to know that it's parallel to the y-axis, right? Because it's not a slanted line. Just like, because it's a vertical line, that's how you knew. So if you had a point like 4, 6 and 4, 4, 1, the x values are the same because it's a vertical line. You just subtract the y values. Do you guys see that to work out the distance?
Yes.
So that's why they're telling you it's parallel to, and they ask this question a lot. You'll be surprised. So basically, if you want to work out AB, right? AB is just the subtraction of the y values. Everybody okay? Somebody's mic is a bit loud. Okay. It's just a subtraction of the y values. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
But now what you guys need to realize is that AB is not fixed. They are telling you that AB is just a vertical line. And the top part of the vertical line is on the parabola. And the bottom part of the vertical line is on the straight line graph. So if I put the straight line here, then AB would be that. Do you guys see? If I put the straight line here, then AB would be that. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
If I put the straight line here, then AB would be that. If I put A, no, don't do that. If I put the straight line here, then AB would be that. So what is AB in a sense? What is
It's
AB actually telling
line.
you?
That can move.
Now, what is AB representing?
Distance between the two graphs.
Yes. Who said that? Rivko. So it's the y difference between the two graphs. So if I choose x to be -1, then all I have to do is work out the y value for the one graph and the y value for the other graph and subtract them. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
If I want to work out AB here, I find the x value for the equation of the line. So I find the x value, and I find the y value over here, and the y value, and I subtract them. So do you guys agree that if I wanted to write an expression for AB, we're just saying that AB is just the parabola minus the straight line graph. So isn't then the equation for AB minus 2x squared minus 4x minus x plus 2? Because isn't this the y value of the parabola? And isn't this the y value of the straight line graph?
Yes.
Everybody following?
Yeah.
Is this, so if this is the y value of the one graph and this is the y value of the other graph, and I want to work out the difference, I just subtract them. Because I asked you earlier on, if you've got a vertical line and you want to work out the distance, then all you have to do is subtract the two y values. But isn't the y value of the one graph this and the y of the other graph that? So all we're doing is that we're subtracting. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
So this is a, yes, 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 yes. It's a bit soft. It's a bit soft. I think it's a bit soft to say it again.
I'm a bit confused when you say that that is the y value.
Yes, because
So minus 2x squared minus 4x.
so what's the equation of the graph? Y equals minus 2x squared minus 4x. So what does the equation say? The equation says y equals that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's a good point that you've made, because I think students don't always realize that this
Yeah.
over here is the y value.
Yeah.
That's why they're saying y equals that.
So like I was getting confused with the y-intercepts.
So the y-intercept is when you make x
Yeah.
naught.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see how cool maths is. Eh? Okay. Okay. So if I realize, so AB is just the difference between the y values of the two graphs. So the y value of the parabola is that, and the y value of the parabola of the straight line is that. So AB is just that minus that. You guys agree?
Yes.
So if I simplify it, it becomes minus 2x squared minus 5x minus 2. So that's AB. Do you guys agree? That's AB.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to explain this to you, if I asked you, Amaro, tell me what's the difference between what's AB, what's the difference between the two graphs when x is minus 1? Then all you do is you sub minus 1 into this equation here, and it will tell you the distance between the two graphs. So do you understand what this equation is telling you?
Yes.
So what's the difference between the two graphs at C?
Zero.
It's 0. So what's the x value when what's the x value when x is C?
It's negative half.
What happens when you sub in minus half into this equation?
Yes.
What's the answer?
Zero.
It's 0.
Zero.
Is the distance
Why?
zero? Is the
Because the distance
Is zero.
between them is zero?
So this equation tells you the distance between the two graphs at a particular x value. And since at C, the distance is 0, when you sub in minus a half, the distance is 0.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, so this is all background here. This is just stuff that you have to understand, because I find students don't even understand the question. I find, so that's why I want to spend a lot of time getting you guys to understand what the question is asking. So now the question says, what's the maximum length of AB? What's the maximum length of AB? Who wants to give it a go? What's the maximum length of AB? If this is the equation of AB, what's the maximum length of AB?
Won't you fill in the value, the x value from the turning point until where it meets the thingy, the straight line?
Yeah, so the maximum length would be.
Yeah, but Rivka, you're assuming that the turning point is the maximum distance. The turning point is the maximum distance from the parabola to the x-axis.
Oh.
We want to know what is the maximum distance between the parabola and the straight line. But so I'll show you guys. Isn't AB the difference between the two graphs, right? AB is the difference between two graphs. So why can't you just find the derivative of AB and make it equal to 0?
But why would we do that?
Because the derivative is what is the derivative equal to 0 going to tell you?
The turning point.
Or the gradient?
No, when the derivative is equal to 0.
Oh, the turning point.
The turning point. But what is the turning point? Zainab? What is the turning point? The turning point is it's the maximum. Isn't the turning point the maximum of the parabola? So it's the maximum distance. It's the maximum point.
Oh, okay.
Somebody, Zainab asked me to repeat. Zainab said, repeat the first part again of the equation. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that part again. So basically, somebody's mic is just a bit, yeah, okay. So AB is the distance between the two graphs. And that's because they tell you that B is part of the parabola and A is part of the straight line graph. So that's why, and they're telling us that this is a vertical line because it's parallel to the y-axis. So that's why if I want to work out the distance between A and B, because it's parallel to the y-axis, I just have to take the y value of B and the y value of A and subtract them. Okay, Zainab, is your mic on? Do you want me to, yeah, I can turn your mic if you, just to make it easier for you, you can unmute yourself. But basically AB is the y distance. But I know that in this graph, y equals minus 2x squared minus 4x for the parabola. And for the straight line, it equals x plus 2. So I want to work out the distance, the difference. So that's why I say minus 2x squared minus 4x minus x plus 2. So, Zainab, does that make sense? Because the mic's not working. Does everybody else understand how we got to this point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're at a point where they want us to, sorry? So, okay, so let's just go back. So this is a difficult question. Okay, somebody's mark is a bit loud. Okay, this is a difficult question, so I'm going to explain it slowly. So AB is the distance between the two graphs, okay? The y values. And that's why I'm subtracting them. So I get this equation. So this equation will tell me the distance between A and B, okay? So if I sub in x to be 1, it will tell me the distance between the two graphs when x is 1. If I sub in x to be 0, it'll tell me the distance between the two graphs when x is 0. So for example, if x is 0 here, right, then the distance between the two graphs is 2. That's what it means, okay? If I sub in x to be 1 and I get an answer of 5, that means when x is 1, the distance between the two graphs is 5. Everybody understand that? Guys,
Yes. Yeah.
you guys understand
Yes.
that? Okay. Now they want to know what is the maximum value of this function, AB. But isn't AB just a parabola? Isn't this a parabola of its own?
Yes.
And they want to know what's the maximum value of AB.
Oh, so we find the turning point.
So the value of the y value of the turning point is the maximum value of AB. Does everybody get that? And how would you find the maximum value of AB? You make the derivative equal to naught, and minus 4x will equal 5. X equals minus 5/4, which is like somewhere here. So do you guys see that?
Yeah.
If you sub in minus 5/4 into this function, what do we get? Minus 2 times 5 minus 5/4 squared minus 5 times 5/4 minus 2. We get an answer of I typed mine. We get an answer of 9/8, which is 1,125. 1,125, or 9/8. But does everybody understand the thinking? This is a question, this is like one of the most difficult questions you can be asked. But I just want you guys to understand what the question is asking you.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, because Zainab understands. Okay. So, can we move on to the next question? Does everybody understand? Any questions about this question? Can we move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, we're going to do Sydney's question now. So, Sydney, what would you like help with? The whole question, or is there a particular?
With the number 3.
Just number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Wait. Number 3 and number 4C.
Okay. We can do the number 4 as well. Okay. Okay. So let's do this just to make it easier. Okay. So the straight line y equals x plus 7. So this is the graph y equals x plus 7 over here. Cuts the circle, okay, in A and B. Now, guys, there is a concept video that I want you to watch, because do you guys see how this equation of the circle is not your normal equation? Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
It's not the normal equation of a circle. What is the normal equation of a circle?
X squared plus y squared equals r squared.
No, that's like a simplified one. What's the full one?
X minus x1 squared or something like that, or y minus y1 squared equals r squared.
Okay, that's close. I'm just gonna use x minus a.
Oh yeah, x minus a.
And what is a and b? A and b is the center of the circle, right? And r is the radius. R is the radius. But they give it to you in this form. So the first thing I do, Sydney, is I convert this into this. And there's a concept video on this, but I'm just going to show you how I do it just quickly. So they give us x squared plus 8x plus y squared minus 6y equals 25. Now, basically, you have to try and convert this into a perfect square. And this is the rules. So if you've got x squared plus 8x, the way this is going to be a perfect square is if you add a 16, because that will become x plus 4 squared. You see that? Does everybody see that? Just like if I had x squared plus 4x, that I have to add 4 to that, because then that will become x plus 2 squared. Does everybody understand that?
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. The same thing with the y squared. So y squared minus 6x, I have to add a 9, because that becomes y minus 3 squared. So the trick is to divide this by 2 and square. Divide this by 2 and square. Divide this by 2 and square. Do you guys see that? Must I say it again, or can I move on?
Can move on.
Okay. So right now, in this particular question, I can write x squared plus 8x and then add 16, because that gives me my perfect square. And then I can say plus y squared minus 6y plus 9, because that gives me my perfect square. But because I'm adding 16 on the left and y on the left and 9 on the left, what must I do?
Must transpose.
You must add it on the other side, right? So it's 25 plus 9 plus 16, which gives you 50. And then you can simplify these to become x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 50. And there's your circle equation in this form. Does that make sense? I can say it again.
Yeah.
But does that... Mohammed? Does it make
Yes.
sense? Naima?
Yeah.
Nabila? Amara? Rifka? Zainab? If you guys, I told you guys.
Yes.
Okay. So now we know the equation of the circle. X plus 4, y minus 3. Okay. X plus 4, y, oh no. X plus 4, y minus 3. So this is so powerful to write your circle in this way. X plus 4, because if you write your circle in this way, you know everything about the circle, basically. You know everything about the circle, because you know the center and you know the radius. And that, what else do you need to know? Like, really, I mean, if you know the center and you know the radius, then you can draw the circle. So let's make this bigger. So now it's asking you to determine the coordinates of M, the center. Well, it's going to be -4.
And +3.
Right. Okay. Now it says the coordinates of A and B. Ooh. I love these types of questions.
We did one like this in the last lesson.
Okay, so what did you guys say?
We said that we use the distance formula, and we know the distance of the radius. So in place of d, we put 50, and then we put the difference of the x squared plus the difference of the y squared, and then we got the point.
But this is A and B, not D and E. This is A and B. I see what you're saying for this one, but this is A and B. Do you see it's a bit different, Mo?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
don't you have the y-intercept of the line? Oh wait, it's of A man. I didn't say nothing.
What is A and B? What is happening at A and B?
It's a straight
I'm
line.
not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I think to determine the coordinates, we must substitute y in y equal to x plus y into x squared plus 8 plus y squared minus 6y equals to 25. Not sure though.
So you're right, but I want you to tell me why. What isn't A and B the intersection between the circle and the line?
Oh,
Whoa. Isn't A and B the intersection? So what do you do when you find two things intersecting? What do you guys do? You equate the equations, right? But, yeah. But it's a bit difficult with the circle, right? How do you equate the circle? So the way we equate the circle, because look, let me show you guys. We've got y equals x plus 7. X plus 7, right? And we want to work out where these are equal. But didn't I tell you guys that where they are equal, the y of the one graph equals the y of the other graph, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So can't you so this y over here is equal to this y.
Oh.
So what can you do?
Put
You
x
can
plus
sub
7
in
in place of that. Yeah.
exactly. So it becomes x plus 4 squared and then plus y, but y is x plus 7. So it's x plus 7 minus 3, which is x plus 4 squared equals 50. And those two terms are the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's just move that up the way. So it becomes 2 times x plus 4 squared equals 50. But does everybody understand this step here? I know it's a mind-blowing step, but does everybody understand what we did here with the y equals? No, man. Does everybody understand what we did here, where we subbed in x plus 7 into this equation?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the y's were the same.
Yeah.
So we can sub in x plus 7. Because then I want me to repeat, it's fine. So the equation of the circle is this, is the black, right? Okay. This is the equation of the circle. And they want us to work out A and B. But A and B is just the intersection of the two lines. And we know that at the intersection, and this class is recorded, by the way, at the intersection, the y's are the same. The y of the straight line is the same as the y of the circle. And because the y's are the same, we can equate, because we know that the equation of the straight line is y equals x plus 7. And we know that when they are equal, at A and B, this y is equal to this y. Okay? And because this y is equal to this y, we can, and we know this y equals x plus 7, we can sub in x plus 7 into here. These y's are the same because it's where they intersect, the graphs intersect, so the y's are the same. But this y equals that, which means that this equals that. So we can sub in x plus 7. And that gives us this. 2x plus 4 squared equals 50. X plus 4 squared equals 25. X plus 4 equals, x plus 4 equals 5 or minus 5 equals plus minus 5. Therefore, x equals 1 or x equals minus 9. So the reason why you get two answers, why do you get two answers? You get two answers because aren't there two intersection points?
Yes.
There are two intersection points, so that's why you get two answers. And the one is when x is 1, which is over here, which looks like it's 1, and over here, which is -9. Okay. And therefore, we can work out the coordinates. We say y equals x plus 7. So if x is 1, then y is x plus 1 plus 7, so it's 1 and 8. And over here, if x is -9 and y is x plus 7, it's going to be -9 and 2. And -2, sorry. Does everybody understand that? Guys, must talk to me. Talk to me, guys. Talk to me.
Yeah.
That's one person.
How do you get the y value again?
How did you get the y values again? Could you just say that again, please?
So y equals x plus 7. So whatever x is, y is just 7 plus that. So if x is 1, then y is 8. And if x is -9.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, sorry, my right thing.
No, that sounds good. It's fine.
And obviously I'm subbing it into the linear equation because to do it in the circle is going to take too long, right? So I'm subbing it into the easier equation. So it's 1, 8. You're just adding 7.
Okay.
Okay. So these are all skills that I want you guys to acquire. So like now you've learned this. So now you've got to add it to your knowledge base and you know, so the next time you see questions like this, you can apply these techniques. Okay. So next question. Now it says point 1 minus 2 is D. Prove that DM is perpendicular to AB. So DM is here. So we know the center M, right? Center M is -4, 3. So they want us to prove that it's perpendicular. So how do we prove that things are perpendicular?
The gradient of the one.
No, say it again.
Gradient is equal to -1.
Gradient is equal to
Not equal to -1.
the
The gradient isn't
inverse.
equal to.
Multiplied by the other
multiply-
gradient will give you -1.
Yeah. So the gradient of D. So what's the gradient of AB?
1,
Why? How did you know that so quickly?
because it's in the question. It's in the equation itself. Y equals x plus 7, and the number in front is 1.
There we go. Yeah. So you don't have to do the y2 minus y1 for this one. Do you guys see that? Because you have the equation. So all you have to work out is this one. So it's going to be 3 minus -2, which is +2, which is 5 over -4 minus 1, which is, and 1 times -1 is?
-1.
Great.
Yes.
So you've proven that they're perpendicular. Okay. So you guys see, the English is, this is perpendicular to that, but the maths is the gradients multiplied is -1. So you always have to translate translate to the point that it becomes automatic in your mind, where if you read DM is perpendicular to AB, it automatically in your mind becomes, okay, the gradients multiplied is -1. Okay. DE is produced to cut the circle at E, okay? The coordinates of E. So you would use midpoint formula, because this is the midpoint of this line, that's the center, okay? This is the midpoint, right, of these two, of this line. So you would say x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2, and the x midpoint is -4, the y midpoint is 3, because the center is -4 and 3. And we know the 1x value is what? We know the 1x value is 1, and the 1y value, because we're using this one over here, is -2. So now we have to work out the other. So if we just multiply, it becomes -8. 1 plus x2 equals -8. x2 equals -9. And the y2 is going to be -2 equal plus y2 equals 6. Therefore, y2 equals 8. So what can you guys tell me about the line EB?
It's perpend. It's
You got it. You got it. You got it.
no. It's like it's straight, so it's parallel.
They're all
So-
straight. They're all straight. What is it?
I can't get it's a vertical
Yes. Why?
because the same x value. No, x values.
Right. You guys see that?
Yeah.
The x values are the same, so therefore it's a straight line. So whenever you have a coordinate, you have a system where, so in fact the equation of that line would be x equals -9. That's the equation of the vertical line. X equals -9. Because along this entire line, x is -9. But that's not your question. I'm just testing you just to prove analytically that BD equals EA. So where's BD? BD is here. So you work out the distance formula, right? And EA. And also EA, look at here, guys. Look at EA. What is EA? It's horizontal line. Why?
Because the y values.
The y values are the same. And here, BD
Y
Y
values.
values are the same. Y values
and,
also the same.
and AD.
X values are the same.
So therefore, if the x values are the same.
Then it's vertical.
So what have you got here? You've got a rectangle or a square. No, wait, it's 8. So this is going to be, you've got a square. No, wait, no. It's no, it's not a square. Jumped it. It's a rectangle. Because the sides are not all equal. Because this distance over here is 8. This is 8, and this is 10. Okay. So would you use distance formula for this question, BD?
Can.
You can, but is it the fastest way? No, because it's a horizontal line. So you just say 1 minus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over here, EA, the horizontal
Same
line.
thing.
So you guys see. So do you see how important it is knowing that when you've got the same y values, it's a horizontal line, and when you've got the same x values, it's a vertical line. So you would have saved yourself in an exam, imagine. I know time is a big issue in the exams. If you knew that the x values were the same, then you didn't have to, yeah. So Sydney, does that make sense? Sydney? Okay, I think I heard a yes. Okay, let's do the next question. We've also got a recording so they can go back. So the next one, points A, B, and C are 3 points in the circumference of the circle. With the equation, okay, the same thing, right? The same thing. So I'm just going to do it because I've taught you guys. So it's going to be x minus, why is it doing that? X minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals, you have to add, you're going to have to add 16 plus 4, which is 20. I'm just, because this is 16 and this is 4. So if you're adding it on the left, you must add it on the right. Okay? You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, Amaro? Mic's off, but
Yes.
okay.
Sorry, I get a bit confused with this because we didn't do it at school.
Did you not do this at school?
No, not yet.
No, we didn't cover this yet.
Okay,
So
but we've
that's
got
But I
But we-
watched the concept videos for it already.
okay, yeah. The concept video is very yeah, it explains it nicely. So don't worry, it is on there. Someone's mic, Amaro, your mic.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So now it says, okay, so now we know the center, right? The center is going to be 4, 2. Cool. And the radius is √20, which is 2 √5, 2 √5. Think so?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
done this in a long time. Yeah, 2 √5. Okay. Calculate the coordinates of P, the center. Okay. So you see, like, before even looking at the question, we've answered. So I actually do this, to be honest. Like when I was in the school, I used to like actually just look at information and derive as much information as I could before I looked at the question. Just get into the habit of doing that. If APC is the diameter, determine A. Okay, so this is the same like the previous one because you've got a midpoint, right? Guys, we've got a midpoint. So just from looking at this, is going to be 2, and the y distance is 5, so it's going to be 7. Okay. But you guys know how to do this. You would just use midpoint formula, and you would get that. Okay. Determine the equation of AC. Okay, this is obvious because now you've got 2 points, and then you would find the gradient, and then you have a point. Okay. I'm not going to do that. Is everybody fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next? Okay, Amara. It's okay, so how many of you guys have done calculus yet? Have you guys all done calculus?
We
No.
have.
No.
Who hasn't done calculus?
Me?
Who hasn't done calculus? Sydney, have you done calculus yet?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Some schools tend to do calculus a bit earlier. So if it doesn't make sense, it's okay. But we've made concept videos, there's like 10 of them. So if you go through those concept videos, it will start to make sense. So, okay. So this is a cubic graph, minus q x cubed plus bx plus c plus d. The graph of x cuts the y-axis at c. So it cuts, okay, notice guys, so when I looked at this question now, notice, so they're telling you, everything they're telling you is for a reason. Notice how it cuts the y-axis at c, but it also intersects the graph at c. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that must like
Yes.
siren in your brain. Okay, that's gonna help me. G is a tangent to F. Oh, it's also a tangent. Okay, of course it's a tangent. Okay, sorry. Because the tangent touches the graph. Yeah, of course. Okay. A tangent is a line that touches the graph once. P is a stationary point of F. Now, what does stationary point mean again? What's a stationary?
The turning point.
Yeah. Now they don't call it turning point, and I told you guys why, because there are some graphs that if you draw the graph of y equals x cubed, it looks like this. No, that's not how it looks. Like that. And over here, the gradient is naught. So therefore, this would be where the gradient is naught, but the graph is not turning. Do you guys see that? The graph is not turning, but the gradient is naught.
Yeah.
So therefore, they came up with this concept of a stationary point. Is there a question? Okay, no. So they came up with this concept of the stationary point because they didn't want to confuse people. Because stationary points is just when the gradient is naught. Okay. Q is the point of inflection. So again, point of inflection is where what? What do you know about the point of inflection?
It's where the concavity changes from.
Okay, but mathematically.
Oh, so it's a double derivative.
But what about the second derivative?
You must make it equal to 0, and then you find it.
It's where the second derivative is equal to 0. Okay, that's so when you read in your equation point of inflection, you must think to yourself, second derivative. It must almost become automatic in a sense. So because you're translating English to maths, right? So when your English is point of inflection, but maths is this. Okay?
Yes.
F and G intersect at T, okay? So therefore the graphs are equal at T. Do you see? So the English, G intersects T at F and G intersect at T, but the maths, the equations are equal at T. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it says show that B, so now you have to do is find the equation of the graph. And so you find B, C, and D. And to do this, you have to basically sub in different information because you want to find 3 points. So you have to sub in 3. You have to use 3 equations, right? If you have three variables that you're solving for, you need 3 equations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And to get 3 equations, you must have 3 pieces of information. So the one piece of information is that you've got, you've got stationary points at 3 and P, right? Oh, you also know an X. Look how sneaky they are there. Look how sneaky they are. You've got an X-intercept.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's both the x-intercepts.
What?
Isn't 3 also?
Exactly.
Intercept?
Exactly. So if I make y naught, I know this graph must be in brackets x plus 2, x minus 3. Okay. And something. But we can actually work at, so do you guys see that? So anyway, so if I sub in minus, so you can actually sub in so you've got a point here. So you've got 2 points and you've also got a turning point. So you've got 3 pieces of information.
Yes.
So there's your 3 pieces of information. You see, so I'm first going to do the turning point because that will give me, so what's the derivative of the graph, guys?
-3. Oh wait, you want the, okay.
Yeah, derivative?
Oh, -3x squared plus 2bx plus c.
And we are saying we're subbing in which value? And we're saying the derivative is equal to naught. Where?
Yes.
Where is it equal to naught?
At the stationary turning point.
Somebody ask a question?
You get the derivative?
How did we get the derivative? From this equation. Have you covered the how to find the derivative, Amara?
Yeah.
So I'm using this equation. So remember, you multiply by the exponent, then you subtract 1. So if you get minus x cubed.
For the first sign, okay.
Okay.
So just x equal to minus x cubed. Okay.
And remember, b is a coefficient. So you treat b as a coefficient, not a variable. So it's 2bx plus c. And we are saying that the derivative is equal to naught where?
At 3.
At 3, when x is 3. So what we would do is that we would sub in x to be 3. What is x? What is minus 3? It's going to be minus 27, right? Minus 3 times 9, which is minus 27. Plus 2b times 3, which is 6b. Plus c, equals naught. Okay, so 6b plus c
Equals 27.
equals 27. Right, good. So that's our first equation. Okay, and you remember I said you guys must stop me if from anything that doesn't make sense. Okay. Yeah, so that's the first equation. And what's the second equation? We got to say the second equation is the x-intercepts, right? And what do we know about the x-intercepts? It's where
Y equals 0.
y is naught. So we're going to make y naught, so it becomes minus x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, right? And we know that this occurs when x is
-2.
-2. So naught equals minus, yeah, which is -8. Plus 4b.
4 plus, no, minus 2c.
And then the other one?
Is this for 3, so it'll be
Now you have to do, because 3 is the x-intercept, right? So you can also use 3 as the x-intercept. So it's going to be minus
27 plus 9b plus 3c plus d.
So what can you immediately do with these two equations?
We can solve simultaneously.
But do you notice something that's the same between the two of them?
The d's.
So what can you do?
We
Subtract.
cancel.
You subtract them, right? So I'm going to make it look nice and just take the 8 over. So it becomes 8 equals 4b minus 2c plus d. And then 27 equals 9b plus 3c plus d. In fact, you know, we subtract the second from the first rather, because that's bigger. So you're going to do that. So who's going to subtract the equations for me? So what's 27 minus 8?
19.
19.
Okay, 19, also very significant number is, okay, anyway.
5b.
And then?
5c.
Let's see.
And then that's it.
So there's your other equation. And then you've also got that other equation, 6b plus c equals 2. Remember we got that equation from the derivative being naught? Sorry, 6b plus c equals 27.
Yeah.
Sorry, off the screen there. Sorry, off the screen there. Sorry. Okay. So how can we solve this one? Any ideas?
Can you make c equal to 27 minus 6b and then substitute it into the other equation?
You can. In this situation, I would multiply by 5 to cancel the c's. But either way, it doesn't really matter actually, to be honest. But because if you multiply by 5, then it becomes, then you can cancel the c's. Do you see?
Yes. It'll be
So
135 equals to 30b plus 5c.
135 equals 30b. Okay, somebody's mic is just a bit loud. Your mic is a bit loud. Okay, then now you've got 19 equals 5b plus 5c, and then we can subtract, right?
It will be 116 equals to 25b.
That doesn't look right. Because they want b equal to 4. I think I might have made a mistake. Let's just see. The first derivative is minus 3x squared. Anybody pick up a mistake that we made? Because it should be b equals. Anyone? All right. So I'm just going to do it quickly. Minus 3x squared plus 2bx plus c equals 0. And that's when x is minus 2. So minus 3 times minus 2 squared minus 4b. Wait, where did we get the 6b plus c from?
From the derivative, isn't it?
Yes, so I'm just trying to see how we got that. So we said it was minus 3x squared. Okay, let me just write it, find some space here. We said it was minus 3x squared plus 2bx plus c equals 0 when x is 3. So minus 3 times 3 squared plus 6b plus c equals 0. 6b plus c equals 27. Yes, 6b plus c equals 27. Let me just try something, guys, quickly. There is an opportunity to do simultaneous on your calculator. Let me just check. 19, 5, 5, 27, 6, 1. I think we maybe made a mistake with the blue. So it's no minus x cubed plus b. Otherwise, there's a mistake with the question, but I'm not sure. Let's just bx squared plus cx plus d minus 2 cubed, okay, which is minus 8, minus 2 squared, which is 4, which is 4b, right, minus 2c plus d, and then naught equals minus, no, oh yes it is. Oh wait, sorry, it's minus 2 cubed minus 2 cubed, guys. There's the mistake. You guys see it's actually positive 8 because it's minus 2 cubed. There's the mistake. Okay, so this is minus 8 if we take it over. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
You guys still there?
Not really.
Because this is minus x cubed and we're subbing in minus 2. So it's minus 2 cubed. And minus 2 cubed is minus 8. Yeah, sorry about that. It happens.
35 then. Like you subtract 27 from the negative 8 then.
Yes. So then it's going to be
Positive
35.
35.
And then when you subtract them, it will be 100.
yes. So it's 100 equals 25p.
It will give you 4.
There we go. Right. And I'm guys, do you mind if I skip this next part of C and D because you know how to sub in, right? You can sub in B equals 4 and then solve for C, and you can sub in B and C and solve for D. I think you guys are comfortable with that.
Okay.
So just in the interest of time,
Yes.
let's just remove those. Okay, so you see, even, you know, It's easy to make silly mistakes, so that's why I always go back and check. Okay, now it says calculate p. What is p? It's the other turning point, right? So you can make the derivative equal to naught and then solve, right? So you can say, because now you know it's minus x cubed plus 4x squared plus 3x plus minus 18. And they're asking you what's the coordinates of the turning point. So you make the derivative naught. Okay, guys?
Yes.
And you know one of the answers is going to be 3. Okay, so you could say 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 equals naught. 3x, and you know one of the answers is going to be minus 3, so 3, so you can have that as a bracket, and it becomes plus 1. Okay, so therefore x equals
-1/3.
right, and that kind of
Negative
looks
1.
that looks kind of right. So you can see it's very close to the y-axis. Okay, and then it says the x coordinate of q. Now what's q?
Point of inflection.
So you make the
second derivative equal to 0.
yeah, so it must become almost automatic in your brain, like second derivative equals naught. So what's second derivative? It's minus 6x. It's derivative of the derivative, so minus 6x plus 8. So 6x equals 8. X equals 8 over 6, which is 3 over 2.
4.
Or
4
no,
over 3.
4 over 3. Sorry.
Negative 4 over 3.
No, just 4 over 3, isn't it? Just 4
No,
over 3.
because it's -6.
But you take the 6
okay,
x
I see.
over.
Sorry.
Yeah. 4 over 3. So x equals 4. And you can kind of see that over here. It's kind of just, oh, you know, if this is minus 2, it kind of looks right. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys, must just stop me making. For which values of x is the graph increasing? So increasing just means that the
Gradient.
graph is going up, or the gradient is positive. So where's the gradient positive here in this graph?
But P in between P and 3, that
So how do you determine the gradient? You can actually draw tangents, right? So here's my tangents. And you can see the tangents over here are negative, and then positive, and then negative. Do you see that?
Yes.
Negative, positive, negative. And they're asking you where is the graph increasing? In other words, where's the gradient positive? So it's going to be between P and C, P and between the turning points.
so
So
it
x
must be greater than -1 over 3 and less than 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Then it says concave down. Now concave down, that's English, but what is the maths for concave down? Concave down is when the second derivative is smaller than naught. Just like concave up is when it's greater than naught. So you found the second derivative. We said it was minus 6x plus 8 equals naught. Sorry, not equals naught. We are saying where that must be smaller than naught. So therefore 6x 8 must be smaller than 6x, so, and then x must be greater than 4 over 3. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
So, but the only way you would know that is if you knew that the second derivative must be smaller than naught. Because it's concave down. Okay? Concave up. So what does concave down actually mean? The way I like to think of it is that concave down is the tangent is below the graph. So do you see here the tangent is below the graph?
Yes.
Yeah.
And no, wait, sorry, I think this is the graph. Sorry, the graph is below the tangent. The graph is below the tangent. The graph is below the tangent. So you see the graph is below the tangent over here. And here the graph is above the tangent. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Here the graph is above the tangent, here the graph is below the tangent. So second, it's concave down when it's greater than this point of inflection because the graph is below the tangent. So concave down just means the second derivative is smaller than naught or the graph is below the tangent. Okay, so those are the two meanings, the two mathematical meanings of second derivative being, or concave down. Just like concave up will be second derivative is greater than naught and graph is above tangent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to ask for 1. How do you write it?
So increasing means the gradient is positive. And we're saying the gradient is positive. So they're asking which values of x. So the gradient is positive is when the gradient is positive. So it's increasing when the gradient is positive. So and the gradient is positive between p and this. So you would say x is greater than minus a third, which is p, which we worked out, and smaller than 3. Amaro, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The equation of G. Okay. The equation of G. What's G, guys?
It's a tangent.
It's a tangent. So what do we know about tangents and cubic functions?
So the gradient of the tangent is equal to the derivative of the function.
Where? Where?
At the
At that
point.
specific, at that point.
At the point that it touches the graph. So you were like 90% there. So the gradient of the tangent is the same as the gradient of the graph where it touches the graph.
Yeah.
So if you want to work out any line, they want you to work out the equation of the straight line. What do you need? You need a gradient, you need a point.
Yes.
So do you know the gradient? How would you work out the gradient of the straight line or the tangent?
The first derivative.
I want someone to explain it to me.
You get the first derivative, and then you sub in the x value of p,
Why?
because that's the point at which it touches.
But yeah, just complete it. So you subbing in, you're finding the derivative. Why?
Because that's the gradient of the
graph,
first derivative,
right?
of the cubic function.
Yes.
So you sub
And
in
you're
the p
subbing
value,
yes.
the x value of the p coordinates of p.
And that will tell you?
That will give you the gradient at p.
Which is what you want, because we said the gradient of the point at P is the same as the gradient of my tangent. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Because you want the gradient of the tangent. But you know the gradient of the tangent is the same as the gradient of the graph at P. But how do I know the gradient of the graph at P? I sub in the derivative, I sub in the x value of P into the derivative. And that tells me the gradient at P.
Yes.
Okay. And so let's just do that quickly. So it's minus 3x squared plus 8x plus 3. And we want to sub in what? Minus 1 over 3. But what, yeah. Actually, no, wait. It intersects at C, not P. It intersects, wait, where does it intersect? At P. The tangent intersects at C. No, sorry, guys, not P. Because P, the tangent is naught. Sorry, it's not P. It's the tangent at C. You guys see that?
Yes.
So where is C? C is the y-axis.
So do you sub in 0?
Not
Is the
zero.
y-intercept of the cubic?
So the x value. So but what is the
x value of C, isn't it the what? No, never mind. I just made myself confused here.
what's the x value of the y-axis?
0.
It's 0. So so what's the gradient?
3.
I'm just a bit confused.
We can repeat it again.
The
Do you
answer will be
guys
3.
see- It will be 3, right? So, but I'll just explain quickly. So, we want to work out the gradient of the graph at C, because we know that the tangent cuts the graph at C. But C is the y-axis. It's where the graph touches the y-axis. So the y-axis is where x is naught. So if
Yeah.
I find the gradient or the derivative and I sub in x to be naught, what am I left with? I'm left with 3. So therefore the gradient of the graph at C at the y-axis is 3. So we know that the gradient is 3. Do you guys see that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I just did that.
And what is now the bonus question? What's the y value of C?
Negative 18.
Why is it minus 18?
Because that's the y-intercept of the cubic function, which is given as d.
Exactly.
And, yeah, so yeah.
So do you guys see that? So do you guys see the equation of the graph? They tell you d is minus 18. But in this case, because d is the constant, remember the constant in every graph is going to be the y-intercept. Just like in the parabola, your c value is the intercept. So therefore, this is minus 18. So why I'm telling you that is because if this is a straight line graph, and you know the gradient is 3, then the equation is just going to be y equals 3x minus 18. Because the gradient is 3 and it cuts the y-axis at minus 18. And you know that because the cubic functions cuts the y-axis at minus 18, because d is minus 18. Does that make sense?
You said again, please.
Oh, sorry, it's fine. So the equation of every straight line graph is y equals mx plus c.
Yeah.
So if you want to work out any straight line graph, you need to work out the gradient and you need the y-axis or the y-intercept. We know the gradient because we've worked out the derivative, and we said that the derivative of the graph is the same as the tangent where it cuts the tangent, and that happens at C. But C is when x is naught. So we subbed in x to be naught and we got 3. So that means that the gradient of the graph at C is 3, which means the gradient of the tangent is 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the gradient of the graph is 3. But now we have to work out the y-axis, the y-intercept. But the y-intercept is just the y value of when x is naught, right? Yeah, because it's cutting. So this straight line graphs, the y-axis of the y-intercept of the straight line graph is just at the same at C.
So we negative 18.
And since the cubic graph cuts the y-axis at C, as you know, as Akhlaq said, therefore the tangent will cut it at minus 18.
Okay.
Okay.
But to find the equation of a tangent, right? So we have that the gradient is 3. So don't we need
Don't you need a well, this is the point. The point is 0 minus 18. I get what you're saying, Amaro. In other situations when it's not the y-axis, you would have to sub in a point. But because they tell us that this is the y-axis already, the y-intercept, you can assume that that's C. That's your C. So you don't have to. You already have M and you have C, so you have your equation.
Yeah.
So this is just like a special case.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Okay. Any other questions so far?
No.
It's a long question. So you guys have the stamina. It's like a marathon. Okay. Calculate the coordinates of t. Where's t? T is here. So what are we going to do, guys?
Make the cubic function equal to the straight line, the equation of the straight line.
You guys see that? Because it's where they're equal.
Yeah, it's the point of intersection.
So does anybody want to work that out so long? And I'll move on to the next question. Akhlaq, can you work it out so long, and I will move on to the next question, because you guys know how to do that.
I'm in bed.
Oh, you're in bed. Okay. Okay. Someone not in bed? You guys all in bed? Okay. Yeah, I can also do this in bed, actually. Let's go. The coordinates of t. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to make this equal to 3x minus 18. So then this is going to cancel with the minus 18. Oh, wow, this is going to cancel with the 3. So then we're left with minus x cubed plus 4x squared equals 0. We can take out x squared as a common factor, and we will get 4 minus x. I'm rearranging the terms just so it looks nice, because this is x squared with 4x squared minus x cubed. Okay, guys, you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Only 2 of you talking to me. Sydney, Naima, Kikma. You guys will be. Naima, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, what's x going to be?
4 or 0.
And 0. Yeah, 4, 0. And that doesn't that make sense? Because what we're finding is when the graphs are equal, but aren't they equal at the x-axis, at the y-axis? So therefore, x is 0 is one answer, and therefore t must be 4. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then can somebody sub this into the big equation and then find the y point of t?
Can't you just have it into the small equation? Same thing.
Oh yeah, you can sub it in. So it's going to be 12. It's going to be minus 6. Yeah, minus 6. Yeah, thanks. Okay. 4 minus 6. And then for which values of x is f of x smaller than g? This is a question I've noticed students often struggle with. All it's saying, so what is f of x is the y value, right? It's y. And g of x is the y value of the straight line. So this is the parabola, this is the straight line. They are asking you, where is the y value of the parabola smaller than the y value of the straight line? So let me, so
more
what
than 4.
So okay, just hold on. So I just want to show them what my technique is. So what I do is I put my finger. So let's just, oh no, let's not do that. I put my finger along the x-axis. I move my finger along the x-axis and I ask myself what's happening. So you can see my fingers here, right? Is the graph greater than the straight line here?
Yes.
Yes. And as I move my finger along, is it greater? Is it greater?
Yeah, it is.
It's greater. Over here, it's equal, right? It's
Yeah.
equal. And I'm not sure if it actually goes below. Does it go below? No, it doesn't go below. Okay. So far, the f of x is greater than g of x, right? The cubic function is greater than the straight line. Do you guys see that? When x is over here at these x values. But they want to know when it's below. So if I move my finger along, when x is 4, they're equal, and when x is greater than 4, look what happens.
Yeah.
You see when x is greater than 4, this graph is lower than the straight line. That's all that it means. You guys okay with that?
Yes. So when x is more than 4.
Yeah. This is a nasty question. Well, it's not nasty, but I mean, it's like usually they only have one of these questions, like the last 3 questions. Okay. Now it says, for which value of k will the graph f of x, okay, plus k have 3 intercepts? So what does the graph of f of x plus k mean? So this is the maths. What is the English of this? Akhlaq, what do you understand by f of x plus k?
Yeah, that's the part I don't know actually.
Okay. Does anybody want to give it a guess? Or not a guess. Not a guess. I mean, like, give it a go. What does it mean? What is k a variable or a number? Variable or a number? Variable or a number?
I think a number.
It is a number, but we just don't know the number. Do you guys? So it's not a variable like x. So what do we mean by a variable? A variable is a number that like x, like it changes, whereas k is a constant. But they're asking for what values of k. So k can change, but it's not like a variable where the function itself changes, where we can choose different values of x and get different values of y. Do you guys understand that? K is a constant. K is like k. So essentially what we mean by f of x plus k is we're taking this graph. I'm just drawing it like that. And k is going to be the vertical shift. Because this is a number. This will be a number like 5 or 4 or 3. So if it was f of x plus 5, then that would mean I'm taking this graph. And I'm shifting it up by 5. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Guys? If k was -1, what would I be doing? I'm shifting the graph down by 1. If k was 10, then I'm taking this graph, f of x, shifting it up by 10. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Akhlaq?
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay. But now what is the question asking me? The question is asking me for what values of k will this have 3 x-intercepts? So let us do it. We're going to do this now. Let's just, let me get the new one. Let me just copy that same, just to make it look neater. So let me just do that. I'm going to draw the graph. And then do that. Ungroup. There we go. Do you guys see it? I'm shifting it up and down. Okay.
Yeah.
You got that? Okay. So the question is asking you for what values of k will it have 3 x-intercepts. So at the moment, how many x-intercepts does it have?
2.
Right. Okay, 2. If I shift it down, how many?
0.
1, because remember this one goes on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, and if I shift it up,
3.
so if I shift up, if k is greater than 0 so far, right? Because now k is 0, but if I shift it up, how many x-intercepts? How many?
3.
2.
3. But look what happens, guys. Look what happens. Look what happens.
Now
Up
it's
till here, it's now 2. So it's going to be between here and here that is going to have 3 x-intercepts. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So what is the vertical distance between here and this turning point? What's the y value of p?
-1.
18.
No. Yeah.
Negative 18.
Yeah.
Not
negative
negative.
1.
No, this is negative 18. What's the y value here? Let's just say it's negative. You just say it's negative 19, right? Just say it's that. It's the same concept. So therefore, k can shift up until 19. Because this vertical distance is 19. Until it starts having 2 x-intercepts.
So do you say k is between 19 and 0?
Yes. Because when k is greater than 0, what's happening? Look what's happening. We're shifting the graph up. So that's why you have to understand, what does k mean? That's why I asked you at the beginning, what does k mean? K means a vertical shift. So if k is greater than 0, 3 intercepts, 3 intercepts, 3 intercepts, 3 intercepts, until my k is 19. Because then I've cancelled out this.
Makes sense.
I can repeat it. Does anybody want me to repeat it? Or does it make sense? Akhlaq, does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Amaro, Hikma, Naima, Sydney.
G. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. It's a tough question, but you see, guys, once you understand, that's the thing, is like, if you understood the question, it's easy. But the problem is, what I find is that students, the way they phrase the question, it's difficult for students to translate it into English when they write it like that. Okay, next question. So this is good practice. I'm glad that we're recording this. For which values of b? Ooh, okay. For which values of b will the graph f of x plus b? Now again, okay, good. Equals 0. Have 2 positive. Okay. So now we have to understand, what does b mean? So here k was a vertical shift, but what do you guys think b is?
Horizontal shift.
Oh yes, it's horizontal shifts. Now, what is it asking you? It's asking you, how must I shift this graph left and right such that I have 2 positive roots? Now, what do the roots mean? What are the roots? What did we say the roots mean?
Intercept.
Which intercept?
X-intercepts.
Right, it's the x-intercept. So what happens? So they're wanting 2 positive roots. So if I shift it this way,
I shift it to the right.
yeah. How much must I shift it by?
By
2.
2.
By 2. So when I shift it by more than 2, there's 2 positive roots.
Yeah.
Do you see how easy it is?
Yeah. It didn't
Yes.
seem easy.
It's you see, but but when you give students this question, for which values of b will the equation f of x plus b equals naught f2, it sounds so like horrible. But all they mean is that I'm shifting this graph left and right. I want two positive. But you have to be very careful now. Is my answer going to be x must be greater than 2?
X must be greater than negative 2.
No.
No,
Nearly
X must
there.
be more than 0.
No.
B is more than 2.
No. B must be less than negative 2.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
is it not
A negative
was it not,
number.
so if it's less than negative 2, like minus 3,
Then it
minus
will-
4, then it will move more to the right.
Yeah.
So they could have caught you out there because you might have said there b must be greater than 2, but that means you're saying that it must be f of x plus 3. What's that going to do to the graph?
To the left.
You guys see that?
Yeah.
So you must just be careful. So you guys knew it was 2, but it must be x minus 2 or f minus 3 or f of x minus 4. Good. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next question. With this one. Okay, there's only 2 more left. Okay, let's see how far we can get. Yeah, what is this? Is this a circle? Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Q, which one? Which one? O, P, Q.
Yes.
Okay. I think Q I will do afterwards because it's more. Because I think the students. Okay, in the sketch alongside minus 2x squared plus 27. Okay, that's the. Sydney, do you mind just turning off your mic? Thanks. Okay. Then g of x is x squared minus 9. So you've got 2 graphs there, right? You've got a frowning parabola and a smiling parabola. ABC is a rectangle with A and D on F, B and C on G. Okay. AB is parallel to the y-axis. Okay. So what does that mean, guys? It's parallel to the y-axis.
It's on. What to the y-axis is vertical.
So therefore the x values are the same.
Yes.
Okay. Express the area of the rectangle in terms of A. Okay. So what's the area of a rectangle in English? Mathematically.
Length times breadth.
Length times breadth. So it's this distance. So we can call this distance maybe because they're using all those letters E and G. Okay. So we need to find an expression for this. Right. So do you agree that if we work out the y value of A and the y value of D and we subtract them, that's the answer for the length, the breadth, right? Akhlaq,
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, please?
The y value of A and the y value of D, if we work that out, in the distance is just the x, because it's only
Yes,
the x
yes.
that is changing.
Yes, yes.
Right. But if this is A, what is this?
It's a negative A.
Yes, but if we're doing the area of the rectangle,
2A.
it's 2A. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Right. Make sense, Akhla?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because remember, this graph is not shifted to the right or the left, so it's symmetrical about the x-axis. About the y-axis, sorry. It's symmetrical about the y-axis because it's not shifting left or right. Remember, turning point is on the x-axis. So so therefore, if you want to express the area, it's going to be 2A, right? So now we have to work out the y. Isn't the y just the y of this minus the y of that?
The Y of
Yes.
what?
The y of this minus the y of that.
Yes.
I think I see what they want here.
Do you sub in A into f of x and A into g of x and then minus the 2?
I was thinking that. That's possibly what they want, eh? Like, because it's just the distance between the two graphs. So if the one graph is minus 2x squared plus 27, and the other one is x squared minus 9, you want A to be, you want to sub in A is the x coordinate. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say minus 2A squared plus 27 minus x squared minus 9. Sorry, minus A, sorry, A.
A.
Because we're subbing in A. Because do you guys agree that this point here, B, is the same A value? It's the vertical line.
Yeah.
So all we have to do is find the Y value and subtract. Do you guys see that? If I want to work out AB, the X values are the same. The X values are both A. So I want to work out the distance, so I say the Y of the first minus the Y of the second. But the Y of the first is just f of A, but f of A is just minus 2A squared plus 27, because it's this function. And B is minus x squared minus 9, but we're subbing in A. So it's A squared minus 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rivko? Naima?
I got the
Yeah.
f of A, the last part.
Yes. So we've got the f, but we now have to subtract from this. But this equation is x squared minus 9. But we want to work it out when x equals A. So that's why we're subbing in A into
Oh, I
it. So
see. Okay.
A squared. So therefore that gives us minus 3A squared, 27 plus 9. That's the length. And the breadth, 2A. Therefore the area, minus 6A cubed plus 72A. Y equals, or we can say area. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you guys kind of see what they're getting at now? Because now, if I sub in A to be 2, what is that going to tell me? Then the area if A were to be 2. If I want to work out the area when A is 5, then I sub in 5 into here. Because A is just this distance. Because if A was here, right, so then the rectangle would be like this. and they're gonna ask me a question. I know they're gonna ask me, what's the maximum? Yeah. They're gonna ask me, what's the maximum? If I told you, you've got an equation for the area. The area is minus 6a cubed plus 72a, and you want the maximum.
You
How are
get the
you gonna-
first derivative of the area.
You
then work
find
out
the
for-
derivative.
Then work out for A and then sub A back into the original formula of area.
Therefore, 18a squared equals 72. A
Minus
equals
72.
4. A squared equals 4. A equals plus minus 2. Now, which one is it? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you're going to square it anyways.
Yes, but also, what do you think the coordinate of D is?
Oh, it's positive 2.
Negative 2.
Sorry, negative 2. Negative 2.
Well, you get your 2 answers. That's why you get 2 answers, because it's us telling you that you get 2 points. Because remember, the equation doesn't know, guys. The equation doesn't know that it's a rectangle. You know it's a rectangle. Okay, so you know it's a rectangle. This just represents that. So now, okay, so theoretically you should get the same answer. Yeah, you should. So what would you do to work out the area? You would sub in 2 into this equation. No, sorry, you would sub in 2 into
The area equation.
the area equation. So let's just see what we get. It should be minus 6 times 8 plus 72 times 2. We get 96 minus 6 times minus 8 times minus 2 minus 96. So do you see how it can't be minus 2 because it's a negative answer, and area is always positive.
Positive.
So it's positive 96. So you see, that's why I told you the equation doesn't know that this is a rectangle. So it's going to give you like another negative answer. Technically, if you inverted it, yeah, okay. So do you guys understand? It's a tricky question, but do you see, does this help? Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
I can repeat.
Please.
Yes. Yes. No, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the question says you've got 2 equations, 2 parabolas, and we're saying AB is parallel to the y-axis, DC is parallel to the y-axis. The coordinates of A are FA, A and FA. F of A just means you're subbing in A into F, which is exactly what it says. Express the area of the rectangle in terms of A. So the rectangle, that's English. The maths is length times breadth, right? So the breadth, if this is A, the X value, therefore this is 2A. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the Y, the length, is just going to be the Y value of this graph minus the Y value of this graph, because this is a vertical line. So do you guys see how in lots of questions they use this concept of the vertical line? Do you see that? So if you know that with the vertical line, the X values are the same, so you just subtract the Y values. And the Y values is just minus 2x squared plus 27 and x squared minus 9. So you're subtracting those 2 equations. Okay?
Yeah.
And when we subtract them, we get minus 3a squared plus 36, because we're subbing in A. Why are we subbing in A? Because the question is asking you in terms of A. So we want to work out the difference between the 2 graphs, the 2 Y values, when X is A. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
That's why we're subbing in A. And then we get this answer of minus 6a cubed plus 72a. This is equation for the area of this rectangle. So if you sub in 2, it'll tell you, it'll give you an equation, it will give you the area. Okay? So they want to know where is the area of maximum. So if you want to work out maximum, you make the derivative naught. So guys, there's a concept video on optimization. In the concept map, we've made a concept video on optimization. I go through this in a lot more detail. So you make the derivative equal to naught, so it becomes minus 18a squared plus 72. You get two answers, a and 2, minus 2. But if you sub in minus 2, you get a negative answer for the area, which is not possible. So therefore it has to be 2, and you get an answer of 96. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, that's fine. You can just add it again. A cylindrical container must be made out of metal to contain exactly 500 milliliters. So what does that mean? 500 milliliters is a volume. So we're dealing with the volume of a cylinder. So immediately when I see volume of the cylinder, I think of the equation for volume. So what's the equation for volume of a cylinder?
Is it 2 pi r squared plus?
Volume, not surface area.
Oh yeah, volume.
So pi r squared times height. Why? Because if you have a cylinder, and we've made a concept video on this, but basically if you work out this, then it's just the height that you multiply by. Do you guys see that? And pi r squared is the area, and then you're just adding all this height to the cylinder. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
That's why you multiply by the height. But concept videos on this, which you can watch.
What's the name of the video?
It's surface area and volume. It's in the section minor.
Okay.
Yeah. Determine the dimensions of the container if the least possible amount of metal. So what does that mean, guys? In maths, least
Minimum.
possible amount. It's a minimum, right? So you guys see that? So you see how they're trying to use words here, but it's actually just maths. So it's the minimum. So they want you to work out the minimum surface area. Because isn't the metal going to cover the container? Right? Isn't the metal going to cover the container? It's not going to be in the container. So they want you to work out the minimum metal, but the metal covers the container, so they want you to work out the minimum surface area. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Talk to me, guys. Rifka, Naima, Amara,
Yeah.
Hikma. Okay. So what's the equation for surface area? So this is where I think we were talking about akhlaq. So the surface area is going to be, if you've got a cylinder, I don't know if we have a cylinder, but it's going to be the two circles plus this. So it's 2 pi r squared. Diameter is pi d times h, right? I think so. Making this stuff up here. It should be, yeah, because I mean, this if you were to flatten this, this becomes the circumference, which is pi d times h, which is h. Yeah, this is the equation. Okay, so this is the equation for surface area. So they want you to work out the minimum surface area, guys, right? So therefore, you would make the derivative equal naught. Do you guys see?
Yes.
Yes.
Make the derivative equal naught. But what's the problem? What's the problem?
You don't know h.
Exactly. Have you guys, whenever you guys have been taught to take the derivative, you have not been shown how to take the derivative when there's two variables. Well, what are the two variables?
R and h.
Right.
I'm
So this
assuming
is
you
the-
make. I'm assuming you make h the subject in the volume.
Yes, yes. Yes. Why? I'm just going to say that to you. Why do you make it the subject?
So that you just have one variable in your surface area calculation, which is R.
And what is the volume?
Oh, it's 500. We have that. It's given.
Do you guys see why they told you the volume is 500? Because they wanted you to write the volume formula. So 500 equals pi r squared h. And Akhlaq is saying if you divide by the pi r squared, you get h over pi r squared. Which means in this equation, you can substitute h to be 500 over pi r squared, which means that you only have an equation with r. You don't have any h's.
Okay. Makes sense.
Do you see how cool that is? So this is actually a common question they ask. So you know that everything in maths, they give it to you for a reason. So they gave you this volume here. So immediately when you see volume, think the volume equation. Okay. So let's simplify it, make it look nice. So it's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r times what? 500 over pi r squared, which is going to be 2 pi r squared plus 1,000. The pi's cancel, the r cancels with that, over r. Guys happy?
Yes.
So I'm going to write this as 1,000 times r to the minus 1 because it's
you
easier
find-
to write. Say it again, Akhlaq?
Do you find first derivative now?
So now all I've done is I've simplified surface area. This is just surface area. We haven't done anything yet. So now you want to work out when the derivative is equal to 0 because you want the minimum or maximum surface area. So what's the derivative? So you could say maybe SA dash 4 pi r. Remember pi is a constant, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Minus 1,000 equals 0.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe multiply by r squared, so you get 4 pi r cubed equals 1,000.
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4, so pi r cubed equals 250. Pi r squared, pi r cubed equals 250. So therefore, and you guys can solve for all like, but you guys understand the concept. So the key thing, you guys see this part was the key thing. Does everybody understand this part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sydney, Hikma, Naima.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay. I like your last question. I'll make a video for that. Let's do Amara's
So-
question.
Quick question. When they say dimensions, they just want us to find out R and H, right?
Yes. Okay, so this is okay. A, B, and C are vertices of a triangle. So you guys know vertices, right? You get vertices,
Yeah.
edges, and faces. So for a triangle, imagine it does go through the origin. It probably does. Yeah, it does go through the origin. Okay. So this would be a vertice is like the corner. Okay, that's important. I know this is maybe easy for some, but obviously terminology is important. Gradient of AC, you just do the simple formula, 3 minus 3, which is 6, over minus 2 minus, which is positive 2, which is 3. Okay, that gradient is 3. The inclination of AC, what's the formula for angle of inclination?
Tan theta is equal to m.
Right. So what's the gradient of
3.
AC? So then you say arctan
Yeah.
of 3.
So
Okay. So
yeah.
the angle of inclination is this angle. But what I want you guys, I think I mentioned it in the last class, angle of inclination is telling you the angle that your line makes with the positive x-axis. Okay? The angle that the line makes with the positive x-axis. Guys?
Yeah.
But what I want you to draw your attention to, do you notice how this is the angle with the positive x-axis? But this is
Yeah.
also an angle. Do you see that? Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Just like with this line, here's an angle with the positive x-axis. And here's an angle with the positive x-axis. That doesn't project very well.
Yeah.
Do you guys see that? So which angle does the calculator give you? It gives you the smallest angle. So luckily, Amaro, when you typed it into your calculator, it gave you this one because it's smaller, right?
Yeah.
But if you type in the angle inclination for a negative gradient graph, is it going to give you the blue?
No, it will give me the other one.
It gives you the orange. So that's why when you type in the angle inclination for a gradient which is negative, you get a negative angle.
So when the gradient is negative, we just say, for example, it's -3. So we get that I think you got 70 something. So we take that amount and we say 180 minus that, right?
Or you can, yeah, 180
Yeah.
minus, but it's 180 minus a negative answer.
Yeah.
So another way of doing it is just to add 180.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Same. So, but I'm just trying to draw you guys' attention because a lot of students just say, I add 180 on but why do you add 180? It's because when your calculator is going to give you the smallest angle,
Yeah.
and that's what, and this is 180, so that's why you add 180 because you want this angle.
Yeah.
Do you guys see this? You guys see that?
Yeah.
So it's subtle, but it's still, it's quite important. Okay, the midpoint of AC, and you guys know midpoint formula, right? So therefore, this is going to be -3. So, okay, I'm not gonna assume it is going to be there actually. It is going to be on the x-axis. It's going to be here. So it's going to be -3 naught. Because if you take the x's, add them up, divide by 2, take the y's, add them up, divided by 2, it gives you that. Now it says, find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. What's a perpendicular bisector?
It's just a line that bisects AC.
What
So
is
the
bisect?
gradients,
Yeah.
like
So,
cutting out. So the gradients.
yeah. So something like that, right? Right?
Yeah.
So how would you work out Amaro, how would you work out the equation?
Okay, so for that one, because we found the midpoint of AC, we have a point. And now
There we
the
go.
gradient, so we know that the gradient of AC is a -3. So
3,
3, sorry. So now the gradient of the other line we want to find out, which is the perpendicular bisector, is -1/3.
Perfect.
So then you just say y is equal to mx plus c and then solve.
There we go. Got it. So you would get but what is going to be the what's the what is the what's the C value for this perpendicular bisector?
We have to solve it, so we don't give.
Okay. Okay, so and then so it's I think it's going to be y equals, okay, you don't know the equation. It's probably going to be minus 3x. Okay.
No, it's equal to
something.
y is equal to minus 1 over 3x minus 1.
Minus 1, yeah. So then the C value is minus, so that should be over here. Anyway, the area of the triangle. Okay, so what do you guys know about what formulas do you guys know for the area of the triangle?
Half times base times height.
Half times, yeah.
Half base times height, and there's another equation.
Half base times height times what's the other one? What's the angle?
Size.
No. You're
Size.
making up this stuff here, Rivka. Unless you found a new equation.
You know?
Okay, so it's gonna be, oh goodness, okay, AB times sine C. Okay, right. Now, what does this mean? So I think I explained in the last class, but we also explained the concept here. But basically, if I give you this triangle, right, and I call this A, B, and C, then if I want to work out the area of the triangle, I will take half of A and B. But which is angle C? What's angle C?
The angle between the two lines. That one. Yeah, A and B.
Angle.
Right. So because we call it the inclusive angle, it's between the two sides that we're using. So if I chose A and C, then the angle would be here that I use. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now in this triangle, we're not going to use half base time. Well, we can actually. We can actually, because they gave us a perpendicular bisector. You can actually, because you have a perpendicular bisector, but then you would have to work out the distance. So what was the equation? Y equals minus a third x minus 1.
Minus 1, yes.
Yeah, so the thing is, you would have to actually work out this height, which you can do because you can make the equations equal, but it's just extra effort. Just use this equation because you can work out, you can work out the distance of the. Well, they want you to work out the angle of inclination of AC. Okay, actually, okay, guys, do you see this is a horizontal line?
Yes.
Why?
Because the y values are the same.
So therefore, the angle over here is the same as the angle here.
Oh.
You guys see that?
Yes.
So therefore, there's your angle. So you must use these two sides, AC and AB.
Oh.
So maybe that's why they wanted you to work out the inclination. You see, it's always, Okay, and you guys know, I'm pretty sure you know how to work that. You just work out distance formula.
Yeah.
And then you say sine. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions that you guys had. So we went a bit over time. But yeah, so hope you guys found it helpful. Is there any recommendations you can give? I can stop the recording now.